living like a Stae. Hey, hey, 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 love yourself first, explicitly. You owe it to yourself to move with that energy. Empower your self-esteem. Self-love is king. That's the only way to win. That's how you empower your dreams. Living like a Stae. Hey, hey, living like a Stae. Hey, hey, living like a Stae. Hey, hey, living like a Stae. Hey, hey.
Hey, y'all. Maybe if I turned on the camera, that would be better. Happy Monday. Happy Mindset Monday. Hold on, y'all. I am trying to fix this. I have it streaming to the wrong pages. So I'm trying to do it correctly. Let me see if it'll let me. There we go. There we go. There we go. Let me see if it's doing the right thing now. Let's see. Happy Mindset Monday, y'all. I have just had the privilege of being on the chat and getting to talk with Nikki and Stacy. It was so much fun. I was running late, y'all. And if you know me and you've probably heard me talk about it, I am a stickler for being on time. I absolutely cannot stand to be late, but I let the time difference, the time, time zone get the best of me. And I ended up being late because I knew that their live, oh, goodness, started at 7 o'clock. I had 7 o'clock. And how in the world did I think I was going to be on their live and my live at the same time? Hey, Charlene, thank you so much for being here. Thank you. Hey, Jesse. Hey, Lachey. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I really appreciate y'all so much. And it looks like they are not going to let me share this at all to Facebook. So we shall see. But we here. I can't even say I've been having technical difficulties today because I have not been having technical difficulties today. I've been having mind difficulties. And yeah, I had already postponed my live to start at 7:20 because I knew I was going to be on their live, and then still ended up. And I'm always messing with people. Like, it's only an hour time difference. How do you get that messed up? But I messed it up. But anyway, we are here. So thank each and every one of you for being here. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. And since you are here, please consider hitting that subscribe button and becoming a permanent part of the Lifer Tribe. I really appreciate you because we are growing this tribe. Every day we are getting people on the Lifer Tribe. I think I'm like up to 720 right now. So that is awesome because it seems like it was just the other day and I only had 150 subscribers. And I was happy with that. Definitely wanted growth. But my mindset has always been that whoever is supposed to be here is going to be here. Whoever needs the message is going to be here to receive it. So I don't get in my head about the numbers, but I can't lie. I like growth. I like to see the people. I like to know that I'm making an impact. So I thank you. Hey, Buddha. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for sharing. I appreciate you. And thank you so much for the congratulations. And you are a part of the growth as well. And I definitely appreciate each and every one of you. And so another thing I wanted to talk about real quick before we get into the actual topic for this evening is, since I have reached a certain milestone on YouTube, I have now become an official YouTube partner. It's not the full monetization yet, but I am able to receive the super chats, which is so awesome. Definitely not necessary, but ARD blessed me with my first couple of super chats last week, and that was awesome. And today I launched the membership. So we now officially have memberships. with the Lifer Tribe, and there are 3 tiers to the membership. And of course, you know, it has to be surrounded by life, LYFE, love yourself first explicitly. And so the first tier of the membership is the Life Enthusiast, and it has its own perks. Thank you so much, Jesse. I appreciate you. And then we have it's Life Enthusiast, Life Empowerer, and Life Champion. And with each of those memberships, you get different perks. So it's everything from group coaching to members only live streaming to members only groups. So we are really growing, and I'm looking forward to that because y'all know I'm all about making connections, building relationships. And I just really feel like this membership is going to give me the opportunity to connect more with the members of the Lifer Tribe that we already have, where we're able to break it down into even smaller select groups of people who need specific things from me. I am a coach at heart. I love to encourage, uplift, empower people. And so being able to do that on more of an intimate basis and get to ask people, you know, one-on-one what it is that they're looking for and things like that is just exciting to me. So yeah, I did a community tab post talking about the launch of it, and all of the details are there, but I'm super, super excited. So if anyone is interested in the membership, it's there. And so we'll have our live streams, we'll have our coaching, all of those things. So yes, I am super, super, super excited. Charlene said, yes, just my vibe, uplift and encourage. Woohoo! Yes, I'm all about that. I'm definitely not a gatekeeper. And I just believe that when you have had a life that has had some trauma, when you've had a life where you've dealt with some negative experiences, and all of us have had certain things, no one's life is perfect, but when you've just found yourself in those situations kind of over and over again, and you're just wondering, why me at a certain point, sometimes you have to realize that it's not even about you. And that's what I had to come to terms with in my journey, is that everything that I went through, even though I learned some personal lessons along the way, the main thing was I was put on this earth to be able to have the courage to be vulnerable and candid and transparent to help save other people from having to go through some of the things I went through, and also to encourage, uplift, and help others who maybe have gone through the same things be able to get through it easier than I did. And so I just believe our experiences are multifaceted. And if ever you're wondering why me, or I really didn't learn anything from that, and that just doesn't make sense, then maybe it's time to consider that maybe the why you is because you were supposed to help somebody else. Hey, She, thank you for being here. I appreciate you so, so much. Thank you for tuning in. So yes, so the membership on Stae Hall for the Lifer Tribe launched today. So go ahead and check it out and just see what some of the perks are. And then also, if you go over there and there's something that I'm not offering that you think you may be interested in, y'all know I'm always open for any type of feedback, any type of information, any ideas, because I truly believe that it takes a village, and I do not for any stretch of the imagination believe that that's only when it comes to raising children. It takes a village to get through this thing called life. It really does. It's just about choosing your village wisely. Thank you so much, Lachey. I appreciate you. And congratulations to you on starting those swim lessons, you and Lisa J. Yes, that is so exciting. Congratulations. So with that being said, it's a perfect transition when we talk about choosing our village wisely, choosing our tribe wisely. We're going to talk about friendship boundaries and navigating. Oh my gosh. No, that's not what we're going to talk about, y'all. I'm on the daggone wrong live stream. Wallace and I are going to talk about this in a couple of days. This is not what we're talking about right now. I cannot believe that I'm in the wrong live stream. I had too much going on today, y'all, and I should have realized that I was in the wrong live stream whenever I'm like, oh my gosh, it's not streaming right. Oh my gosh, it's not streaming right. That's because I'm in the wrong live stream. I am in the live stream for Tuesday. I'm not in the live stream for today. Doing too much, too fast. Hey, Tuber Chat. Thank you so much for being here. Pause. Why do I have to pause? What did I do, Sheet? Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'll just go ahead and change the title after. But that's why it's not streaming to Facebook, because I have it on the wrong day. But yeah, I'll go back and change it later. That's not a big deal at all. But what we're going to talk about today is compartmentalizing our friendships and relationships. We need to be able to compartmentalize our friendships and relationships, because what happens a lot of times is we use, wrong live pause. We use the term friendship very loosely. And that's my friend, or she's my friend. And sometimes we base friendship on how long we've known somebody, right? Or we base friendship off of the fact that maybe, what'd you say? I was wondering about the quick topic change from the title. Yeah, because that's what we're going to talk about tomorrow. Me and Wallace, we're going to talk about that tomorrow. But sometimes we base friendship on the wrong things. We base friendship on, people who may be close to other people in our family. We base friendship off of how long we've known people. We base friendship on the fact that maybe we've just known somebody for a long time. Sometimes we get kind of pulled into a friendship because this person considers us their friend, but maybe they're not necessarily our friend. Like, I've had people who have called me their best friend, and I don't really know what that means to them. And I don't mind being anybody's best friend if that's the spot I feel in your life, and I'm giving you what you need in order for you to feel like I'm your best friend. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you're my best friend. And so I just want us to realize that when we have these relationships in our lives, there are certain compartments, certain boxes that we can put people in. And when we do that, and when we have that type of mindset, oftentimes that keeps us from getting our feelings hurt. It keeps us from having unrealistic expectations, because people are in our lives for different reasons. And I'm sure everyone has heard, some people are in your life for a reason, some for a season, and some for a lifetime. And that is okay. And I feel like if we really take a deep dive into what the word friendship means and what friend is, and we stop using it so loosely, we won't get our feelings hurt so much, and we won't feel so betrayed, because maybe we put that word friend on somebody who really wasn't there to offer that to us. They were there, hey, Chris, how are you? They were there for us because they like to hang out with us. They think we're funny, or, we might have one thing in common. Just because we do yoga together 3 times a week and we have a great time at yoga, and maybe we left yoga and went and grabbed a smoothie, that does not make us friends. That would make us yoga buddies. Not like that's a real thing, but that's how I want you to be thinking. Your yoga buddy is your yoga buddy. That's not necessarily your friend. Your childhood friend that you grew up with and went to school with, that is your classmate. That does not necessarily have to be your friend. And I think, too, when we deal with things where we have businesses, we have social media platforms, and we look at all these numbers of people who we have following us and people who we've known forever, and we're looking for their support because we think they're our friends, when really they're just acquaintances. They're people that we know. They're associates. And I really want you to look at that, because you said preach. Preach. Yes. Well, I'm glad that I'm hitting on something with that, because that is something that we have these expectations of people, and maybe they're not looking at us in the same light. And so I really want us to start learning how to compartmentalize. Babe, can you do something with that TV? That's distracting me. I want us to be able to compartmentalize, because it will save us a lot of hurt in the future. Hey, Nikki, thank you so much for being here. And girl, I jumped off of your live and then trying to hurry up and get on this live, and I done clicked the link for the wrong live. So that is not the topic for today up there. That's the topic for tomorrow. But we are talking about compartmentalizing friendships. But thank you so much for having me on today, Nikki. It was so much fun. But those are the things I want you to think about, because something that has happened to me before is where I was in what I thought was a friendship, and I was there for this person, and I'm giving them everything that I feel like I need to give them as a friend. I'm a listening ear, I'm a confidant, and I am giving the best advice I can. I'm listening as much as I can. I'm helping you walk through situations as much as I can. However, when things would happen in my life, I couldn't find them in the daytime with a flashlight. And what I realized is I was their friend, but they weren't my friend. But what was it, or who told me that I should have even expected that from them? I just assumed, and we all know what assuming can mean. I just assumed because I was their friend that they were going to be my friend. Because clearly, if you feel comfortable telling me these things about yourself, if you feel that secure in telling me your personal business and things of that nature, then clearly we're friends, right? But not necessarily. And so you have to be able to realize that. And so once I realized the position that I played in that person's life, I didn't necessarily start moving any differently, because if they needed me in their life and I was doing that for them, I can still do that, but I'm not going to be quite as attached, and I'm not going to have certain expectations that you can do that same thing for me, because sometimes people don't even have the capacity. And so I want us to look out for those things, because friendships don't necessarily need to, hey, Kelly, thank you so much for being here. Friendships don't necessarily have to be equal, just like being in a marriage and that type of partnership. It's not about it being equal 50-50. However, there should be some give and take. There should be you receiving as well as you're giving. And it may not be all the time. It may be that in this season of your life, I'm there for you way more than you're able to be there for me. But when I need you, then I should be able to expect you to be there for me. But if you're in a friendship where that person never seems to be able to be there for you, like a telltale sign is, say you're on the phone with said friend, and they're the ones who initiated the phone call or whatever, and they're calling you to tell you something about them and what's going on with them. And so they're talking, and they're sharing all of this with you, and you're giving your advice, you're listening, you're doing whatever. And then you decide to bring up something about you, or maybe you have a similar story in some way that you can relate to them. But as soon as you start talking about your experience, then it's like they really don't have much to say, or they have to get off the phone, or they seem like they're distracted because they're not really interested in your life and what you have going on. Hey, Sweet Thumb, thank you for being here. They're more interested in getting your advice, having your listening ear as it pertains to their situation. They don't really care about your situation. And it's when you're having those conversations and the people are just like, oh, but they're not really offering any feedback. You can tell that they're not really paying attention. Oftentimes that means that you're that person's friend, but they're not your friend. And so those are the things that we need to recognize. And the sooner that we can recognize those things, the easier it is to manage those relationships. Again, I'm not telling you that you should no longer talk to that person. You should no longer be there for that person. I'm just saying that you don't necessarily need to expect the same thing from them that you are giving to them. Some people are very one-sided. Some people are emotional drainers. Some people don't even know how to be a friend because they have so much going on. Let's see. What you say? Hello, everybody outside fighting the mosquitoes. The mosquitoes are crazy. Wallace was just making some kind of organic mosquito spray today. But yeah, they are crazy. But that's the way we need to compartmentalize things. And to me, a friendship is the same as a romantic relationship, wherein that you want to take your time. They go through phases. Like there's a courtship to true friendship. There is just like that dating period. There's that time where you kind of want to learn this person, because when I'm talking about friendship, I'm talking about friendship where we are like family, and all family cannot be friends. Like friendship to me is a choice. Friendship is where we have the opportunity to decide who we allow into our lives. Family members, those people was just thrown on us by DNA. We had no choice, whatever. And all of our family members are not necessarily our friends, and that's okay. And so I want you to think about that as well. All of our family members, we cannot trust with our secrets. All of our family members, we cannot trust to give us good advice. All of our family members, we cannot trust to support us. Hey, wellness, how are you? So I want you to think about that. But with friendship, you have that choice, but you want to court that friendship. You want to date that person. You want to get to know them. It can't just be like, oh my gosh, I met this chick. She's so super cool. We are into the same things. Oh my gosh, we even had on the same color today. Oh my goodness. She really likes Mint Condition. That's her favorite band as well. And can you believe she wears her hair in soft locks? That, my friends, does not a friendship make. That means you have a lot of things in common and somebody who you can have cool, casual conversations with. But don't be that person who, as soon as they meet somebody, like, oh my gosh, this is going to be my best friend. And then the next thing you know, you telling them all your business because they're so easy to talk to and whatever. And next thing you know, your business is all over social media. Why? That's your fault, because you did not vet that friend. You did not court that friend. You did not get to know them. You did not get to see how they move in life. And so you don't want to just jump into friendships any quicker than you would jump into a romantic relationship. Hey, ARD, tapping in from the Bay with much respect. This is spot on. I've had solid friends my entire life, but small circle. When I became a dad, I found some of the friends could grow with me. Had to respect that. Right. And that's the thing. Or couldn't. I figured that's what you meant. As soon as you put it in there, ARD, I'm like, he probably meant couldn't. And that's the thing when it comes to the reason, the season, or a lifetime. Sometimes friends that you meet are true friends at that time in your life, at that season, during your season of singleness. That friend who loves to go to the club, that friend who is dating, that friend who can relate to you, that friend could truly be a great confidant, a keeper of all your secrets, a great friend. But then say life happens, life changes, you move on, you get married, you have children. They don't. Now you guys don't have as much in common. Now you seem to be going your separate ways. You grow apart. That's okay. That is a seasonal friend. And those relationships are important. Those are relationships that we cherish. It doesn't mean that we'll never speak to them again. It doesn't mean that we won't still send Christmas cards and acknowledge each other's birthdays. But the friendship is a little bit different. And they're not necessarily going to be interested in the same things as you anymore because your interests have changed. Your likes have changed. The way you're moving in life has changed. Some friends are in your life for a reason. Sometimes we meet people during a certain period of our life, and it was the exact person that we needed at that time because they were able to relate to us. They've been down that road before. Again, somebody who is trustworthy and whatever, but they're in your life for that reason. And then things happen, your life changes. And it's okay. Those lifetime friends, those are the ones that, hey, how are you, Miss Christine? Thank you so much for being here. Good evening. I'm finding that the majority of my friendships were seasonal. And that's what I was going to say, Miss Christine. Most of our friendships are going to be in that seasonal category. And why? Because life changes and our lives don't always change at the same pace. Where you are going, what your destiny is for, everybody is not meant to go with you. And don't go trying to drag people into places where they don't belong. Don't hinder your life. Don't block your blessings trying to hold on to a friendship. I say this all the time. When you're trying to hold on, that means that your hands are closed. When your hands are closed, that means that you can't receive anything. So whether you're trying to hold on to a relationship, whether you holding on to money, whatever it is that you're holding on to, as long as you keep holding on, that's all you're ever going to have. And so sometimes with those seasonal relationships, they can be a little difficult to let go of. But when it's time, you know, and you just need to move on because you're going to be replenished. There's going to be somebody, I hate to say it like this, but somebody is going to take their place. You're going to be blessed with another relationship that's different, that fits you more in the season of life that you're in. And they're going to be okay as well. Sometimes we're holding people back from their blessings because we're trying to hold on so tight to that friendship. And again, if nothing bad has happened and it's just life and circumstances, then It's okay. I don't know what's going on with this TV, babe, but you ain't put on the right stuff. So can you just turn it off? We haven't, y'all know I be trying to have my little scenery in the background, but Wallace did it for me today, and he don't be paying attention. He ain't do the right one. But the thing is, we can be blocking them because we're trying to hold on so tight to those relationships. And if nothing bad happens, if it's not a bad friendship breakup, then you can still have that friend in your life. Again, send the Christmas card, send the happy birthday text, appreciate them for the reason that they were in your life. But there are going to be that few and far between that are going to be those lifetime friends. And it doesn't make the lifetime friends better people than the seasonal or reason friends. It just means that there's something about them that made them permanent. It means that your lives were on a similar path the whole time that you've known them. And sometimes those lifetime friends will be friends from way back in the day, from elementary school, your 20s or whatever. Sometimes you don't meet those lifetime friends until your 40s and 50s, but it's something about those lifelong relationships that do hit a little bit different, which means it's going to be few and far between. I'm all about quality over quantity. I don't need a whole lot of friends. I just need one or two really, really good friends. And so for the people who say, I don't need no friends, well, that's up to you, but we do need friends. I do believe we need friends. Gotta love them enough to let them go and grow. Yes, absolutely. So well said. So well said. And we have to love ourselves enough as well, right? When you're in that friendship and it just feels stressed, it's strained, especially at my big age, y'all. I'm 52 years old. Y'all know I don't have it. I'm proud of it. I'm good. But once I reached a half 100, I realized that it was time for me to live a less complicated, much more simple life. And that includes relationships, whether it's family members, friends, my husband, whatever. I need for my relationships to be relatively easy. And when I say easy, I mean, I don't have time for shenanigans and a bunch of mess, because as we get older, things are going to happen in our lives. We're going to start to lose friends to sickness and death, unfortunately, but it's just a fact of life. We're going to start to lose our parents, our aunts, our uncles, older family members. We're going to go through, a lot of us, empty nester syndrome. A lot of us are going to go towards, that change in life for us seasoned women of menopause, post-menopause. A lot of us may go through losing spouses, like just different things we go through dealing with adult children and how to navigate that relationship, and grandchildren. There's just certain things that we're going to go through as we hit this second beautiful phase of our life, that we don't have time for some of the mess that maybe we dealt with in our 20s, 30s, and 40s. I don't have time to be arguing over petty stuff. I have no time for he say, she say. I have no time for man drama. I don't have time for that kind of stuff. I don't have time for needy friends who get upset just because you forgot to invite them to the happy hour and they saw a picture on Facebook and they feel in some kind of way because why did you invite Kathy to the happy hour and you didn't invite me? Girl, I just happened to see Kathy at the Piggly Wiggly yesterday, told her I was running up to the crab shack and she said she was going to come. Like, I don't have time for that. So that's what I mean by easy. I want my energy, because our energy gets lower, right? The older that we get. And so this little bit of energy I got, I don't have time to use it on petty stuff. I want to save my energy up for great things, positivity, and for the real bad things that we have no control over. I want my energy to go towards supporting you when you lose your mom or dad. I want my energy to go to supporting you when you're dealing with being an empty nester and you've been raising children for the last 25 years of your life and you just need that support. I want to be able to use my energy to support you when your body is changing because you're going through menopause and you're having these personal summers and you can't remember anything. And that's what I want to use my energy for. Yeah, I don't know why I always say the Piggly Wiggly, Nikki, because I have never lived in a city or a state, I believe, that has a Piggly Wiggly, but I always say the Piggly Wiggly. I have been to the Piggly Wiggly, but I have never, never live by Piggly Wiggly, but that's my store of choice. But yes, no drama. I don't have time for that. And so that's what those forever relationships do. They stand the test of time. They are tried or true. Just like in a romantic relationship, those forever relationships are the relationships with like-minded people. They are the relationships with people who have a lot of the same goals, aspirations, and desires as you. Your paths have just seemed to go the same way for a long time. And so my best friend, Adrienne, lives in Virginia Beach. I met her when I moved to Virginia Beach back in 99. Our relationship started off really odd. So the way I met Adrienne is, even though we worked together, I met her over the phone before I met her at work. What had happened was Adrienne had got hired to the job. We got hired as customer service reps for Verizon back in 1999. And that was just like the job to have if you lived in the Hampton Roads area. It really paid good, great benefits. You got paid every week. And there was a path forward on that corporate ladder, a lot of opportunities. So going through that process of getting hired for Verizon, which back then was Bell Atlantic, was a big deal. And so, you had to take an extensive test and all of that. So Adrienne had got hired onto the job a couple of months before me. And like I said, we didn't know each other. But what happened was, when you get hired onto the phone company, you are then allowed to switch your phone service to them and get a discounted rate or whatever if you didn't already have the service. And you had what was called an employee account. And so Adrienne was already on the phones. I was still in training, and I had called in to switch my account over to the employee account. And there were some issues with them switching it. I had called several times. And so I ended up getting Adrienne on the phone. And by this time, I'm frustrated. And even though I'm a new employee there, at this time, I'm a customer. And so we got on the phone. I have some things to say. Of course, Adrienne is at work, so she's trying to be, professional, but I'm getting on her nerves. She getting on my nerves. But what she did, which I felt was so mature, is she found out, what shift I work, whose team I was on. She reserved a conference room, and she scheduled a one-on-one meeting with me. So the first time I'm ever seeing her face-to-face is we're having this one-on-one meeting about our encounter on the telephone, because her mindset was, this is a fellow employee of mine who works in the same office. We're both relatively new. And I just hate the fact that our first encounter was that type of experience. But because we have very similar personalities, she picked that up over the phone and realized that if she was in my shoes, that she probably would have felt the same way. So that even more so made her feel like, I really need to meet this young lady, and we chat. We have been the best of friends ever since. Why? Because we're so similar, very similar personalities, very like-minded, very strong-willed, very direct. Adrienne is my youngest son's godmother. She was in my wedding. She's here to visit me all the time. And she has been a lifelong friend, will be a lifelong friend. In our entire relationship, that is, about 25 years of us being friendship, I think we've only had like 3 disagreements, never have gone a period of time of being angry and not speaking. Even in those three disagreements, we had stuff resolved in like 24 hours or less. And she gets me and I get her. I know I can trust her with anything, but those friendships are few and far between. Thank you so much. Yeah, it is a very odd story, but that is the story of our friendship. But that doesn't happen all the time. But it was like with Adrienne and I, it was almost like love at first sight, because I respected her for being mature. I'm like, dang. And she is a few years older than me. That's like my big sis. And so she just taught me a different way to do things. And it was like, dang, how big of her, how mature of her to, instead of just waiting on me coming to work to find out who I am and just roll her eyes at me and talk about me behind my back. She was just like, no, she was frustrated. I get it. I probably would have felt the same way, but I don't want us to get off on the wrong foot like that. And so we have been friends ever since. I'm her daughter's godmother. She's my youngest son's godmother. And it has just been a family affair ever since. She's been with me through childbirth, through divorce, through moving, all of those things. And that's what makes her my forever friend. But I also have other friends that I have had great experiences with that I don't even know where they are anymore, right? We had a good time. It was fun while it lasted. And that's okay, because we kind of talked about this a little bit on the chat with Nikki. Like, how many friends can you really reasonably manage? Because friendship relationships are important. They need to be nurtured. They need to be cultivated. You need to learn people. You need to be able to be there for each other. You don't want to spread yourself too thin. So being popular is different than having great friends. And I'll take great friendship over popularity any day. It really doesn't matter to me who likes me or doesn't like me, who wants to be in my company or doesn't be in my company, because I have a group of 3 or 4 people who are ride or die for me and appreciate my company all the time. You know the saying, no new friends. I'm kind of on that sometimes. Like, I don't need a lot of new friends. I am cool riding with the ones I had. But one thing that really kind of struck me and hurt my feelings at first, when I first realized it, oh, thank you, Nikki, was how distance can really play a part on friendships, again, just like romantic relationships, because I grew up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I was born and raised there. I grew up in a small section of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania called West Mifflin, not far from Kennywood Park, if anybody is familiar with Kennywood Park. And I went to a school where there was a very small population of Black students. I think we probably only were about 5% Black. Most of the Black students that went there literally lived in the same neighborhood, the same 3 streets. Most of us who went to that school, our parents grew up together. I literally grew up on the same street my mother grew up on, and my mother had 12 brothers and sisters, and about 8 or 9 of them lived on our same street. Like, that's the kind of neighborhood that I grew up in. And some of the teachers I had in school were some of the same teachers my mom had in school. And so I literally have people in my life, friends in my life, who I can't even tell you when I met them, because I literally have known them since birth, and our parents have known each other. And so, of course, you would think that those would be your lifelong friends, right? So you go to school together, you graduate together, y'all go to the prom together and whatever. And a lot of us ended up staying in Pittsburgh and going to school and getting jobs there, well into our 20s. We had children around the same time. And so what struck me was when I left Pittsburgh in 1999, I believe I was 27 years old, something like that. And I moved to Virginia Beach, which is only like a 7-hour car ride. I didn't hear from any of those friends anymore. Like, they gave me a going away party and everybody's like, we're going to keep in touch. We're going to come to Virginia and visit. You live right by the beach and da-da-da-da-da. And these are people that I've known at that point my entire life. So there was no doubt in my mind that, of course, we're always going to be friends. We're the only friends we really know. But I had the rude awakening that it was almost like out of sight, out of mind. And I found myself feeling lonely, feeling abandoned. And then I found myself chasing the friendships, because every time I got some free time, I was on that road and I was headed back to Pittsburgh. I was on the road, headed back to Pittsburgh. All somebody had to do was sneeze. I was on the road, headed back to Pittsburgh. Oh, it's a birthday. I'm on the road, headed back to Pittsburgh. And then I finally realized, well, you know what? I sneeze too. And the road goes back both ways. Nobody's running down to Virginia Beach when I sneeze. I have birthdays too. Nobody's running down to Virginia Beach when I have a birthday. And so I had to come to that realization that, you know what? Even though some of those friendships really had spanned my life at that point, where we had been friends since toddlers to the age of 27, those were seasonal friendships, because my best friend, the relationship that I just explained to y'all, I live here in Texas. She lives in Virginia Beach. We see each other. She comes to Texas. I go to Virginia. We make each other a priority. We are intentional about scheduling things on the calendar so we can see each other a couple of times a year. And we're way more far than that. It would be like an 18, 20-hour drive from Texas to Virginia and vice versa, because I've done it before, unfortunately. So when we see each other, it's about getting a plane ticket. It's about making that financial investment on top of your time. And here, my friends that I grew up with couldn't even get in the car and come spend the weekend. And I had to realize I couldn't be mad about that. I couldn't just say, well, I'm never speaking to them again. What I had to realize is even though those friendships had lasted 2 decades, they were still seasonal. And once I got over that, that's when I started making new friends. I started building different relationships, because what I realized as well is I was at a different point in my life. I had made a decision to leave, to do something different. I didn't want to raise my family in Pittsburgh. I didn't want to stay there for the rest of my life. I went after my opportunities. I went after where it was best. And one thing I have to say, even going through that transition, one thing I never did was consider moving back to Pittsburgh, because I knew that's not where my life journey was taking me. Several people had mentioned it to me, you know, you're not just going to move back. Or even when I was leaving, they're like, you'll be back, you'll be back. But I knew the day I pulled off that I was never coming back, because I hadn't found the opportunity there. I had lived there long enough. I had done everything that I felt like I could do there. And so I decided that it was just time to move on. But those friendships are seasonal. And so that's why I want y'all to think about that. The fact that no matter how long you may be in a friendship, that does not determine whether that friendship is seasonal or not, because things change, life changes, there's different circumstances, and sometimes people got to go. I'm not mad at anybody. I was just home a couple of months ago, and some of my friends, I saw them, but guess what? Some of them I didn't, and I still didn't get my feelings hurt. There were people who were told, hey, Stae's home, we're doing this, we're doing that. Haven't seen them in 20 years. Do you think they decided to show up like, oh my gosh, Stae's home? A handful. It was on Facebook. Y'all know I post everything on social media. I'm posting pictures. I'm in Pittsburgh. How many people were like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad you're here. Can't wait to see you. Just a couple. And I was okay with that, because what I realized is the people who really care about me are going to show up, and we're going to have a good time, and we're going to have a good conversation. I'm going to focus my time and my energy on the people who are here, not on the people who aren't. Because again, some of these people I haven't seen or talked to in 20 years. We're friends on Facebook. I keep up with them that way. They keep up with me that way. But whatever they have going on in their life, evidently I wasn't a priority for them to make sure that they fit me in to see me. I was okay with that. And that's why I wanted to do this live and talk about this, because I want us to stop getting our feelings hurt over unrealistic expectations. No one has a contract with you to be your friend for the rest of your life. And it is absolutely okay, because my life is going in the direction that it's supposed to be. And I pray to God that their lives are going in the direction that is supposed to be. And the thing is, because of the former friendship, I still would be there for them if I could. I would still be able to lend them some advice, some assistance if I could. But are they a priority for me? No, just like I'm not a priority for them. Thank you, Nikki. Exactly. Jesse gave a 100%. Yeah, it's absolutely fine. No love lost at all, because I went there to see specific people and those people showed up. Yeah, everybody's life and everybody is doing their thing. And so we have to learn not to take it too personal. But the thing is, you have to be realistic on how you're gauging these friendships. And when it comes, I enjoy you coming home. Love you. Oh, love you too. It was so good seeing you. That's my boo right there. Thank you so much. Yeah, and we had a good time. Oh my gosh. I've known her since she was a baby. That's family right there. But that's what I was going to lead into. The next thing is family. Family is family. Friends are friends. I already explained. Family was thrown on us with DNA. Family was thrown on us because some of the same people decided to have kids and whatever, so we family. But don't think that family means that they're your friends. Like I said earlier, You can't take advice from all your family members. You cannot trust your secrets with all your family members. Everybody in your family is not meant to go where God is taking you. Your journey is your journey. And sometimes we have to look at those familial relationships the same way we do with the other friendships. If that relationship is not pouring into you, if that relationship is not giving you positive vibes, if that relationship is not keeping you with an overfilling cup, if that relationship is not reciprocal, it is time to cut those ties. Again, I'm always talking about the cutoff game because my cutoff game is strong at my big age. But cutoff, we can cut off in levels. Sometimes cutoff means exactly that. Stop talking, no longer have access to your life, period, done, zero, zilch. Sometimes cutoff just means creating some different boundaries. Sometimes cutoff means I can do this with you, but I can't do that with you. But we have to realize that even in family, that is necessary. I have some family that are my family. There's nothing I can do about that, unfortunately. They are my family. But then I do have a couple of family members that I actually consider friends. And considering somebody a friend in my book is way more important. And a lot of my friendships have turned into what would look more like family. I have a couple of friends who I literally would trust with anything. There's one thing that me and my friend Adrian say all the time, not even on Mad Day. And the only way you can be a not even on Mad Day person with me is that we have to be forever friends. We have to be on that same wavelength because all your family cannot deal with the not even on Mad Day. They gonna be quick. And what not even on Mad Day means, I can tell you my deepest, darkest secret. I can share with you every one of my insecurities. I can share with you how much money I have in the bank. I can share with you any and everything. And know that even if you get mad at me, that stays between me and you. That just because you're mad at me, you're not going to run and tell my business. That just because you're mad at me, you're not going to try to sabotage something I have going on in my life. That just because you're mad at me, you're not going to try to cause a rift in other relationships that I have. That's the not even on Mad Day. Hey, Cece, thank you so much for being here. That is a forever friend. When you know that you can take that to the bank. And there's not going to be a whole lot of people that you can thank you, Nikki, for being here. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your evening. I appreciate you, sis. But you know that your secrets are safe with them, your vulnerabilities, your insecurities, your circumstances, even on Mad Day. And there are only gonna be a handful of people that you run into in your life who you can have that not even on Mad Day pact with. And that means that you can trust them with anything and you don't have to worry about, oh my gosh, if I say this to her or if I hurt her feelings or if I upset her, is she going to tell this? Is she going to do that? No, not even on Mad Day. But there are other people who can present themselves as friends, who can act like they're in your corner, but soon, yeah, with a T, soon as their emotions get involved, all that goes out the window. They can't wait to go run tell that. They can't wait to try to throw salt in your game. They can't wait to try to cause some kind of dysfunction. They can't wait to try to turn other people against you. Those aren't the friends that are going to be your forever friends. Thank you so much. Y'all have no likes. Can I get some likes, y'all? If I'm dropping a couple of nuggets, can I get some likes to help me with the algorithm to let me know that y'all still here? Thank you so much, Sheet. I appreciate that. I always forget. And I know that it's something that is difficult because when we get involved in the lives and long form content, we forget about smashing the like button. We're used to it like on Instagram and all that stuff. Yeah, hit like, hit love. But yeah, we don't think about it all the time on YouTube or TikTok. It's like we just watch it. So yes, thank you so much, y'all. Please hit me with some likes if you don't mind. But those are the kind of forever friends that you need. You need those people who are going to have your back even when you're not in the room. Like this is a situation that I've had before with a friend. I had a friend who came to me to share with me something that somebody else that they're cool with. Because that's the thing with friends too. Friends don't always have to have the same friends. You should be mature enough to have different friends. But again, there's that trust factor there. And so I had a friend who was a really good friend of mine at the time who had another friend who I wasn't that good of friends with. So oh yeah, did I ever drop the link? It should be pinned at the top. But let me go ahead and put it in here for you. She absolutely, and y'all know y'all can always join me. Thank you for mentioning the link too, because y'all know y'all can always join me if you have something to add, if you have a question, whatever. The link is there. But I had a good friend who had another friend who didn't really care for me for whatever reason. We had never even had any interactions, but you know how some people are, she just didn't like me, which is fine. And you can still be friends with that person. It's not a problem at all. And so, all right, coming to the stage, we here. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good. Just got to the house. I had a long day. I had to go get a tire, had to go do all this and do all that, but nothing about me. But yeah, this topic hit so close. I had a friend for like 20, what was it, 23 years, and we fell out over some he say, she say stuff. 23 years. And I'm like, and it was mainly the funny part about it was something that me and him always talk about his brother. And his brother tended to kind of freeload on him, and he had like his mom and other family members in the business trying to, get him to say, well, that's your brother, look out for him and stuff.
Mhm.
But his brother grown with kids staying with him.
Oh, wow.
And so I was telling him, I said, well, this is the thing. You start charging your brother a little more money to make him either do two things. He's gonna stay and pay more money, or he's gonna get his own place. But at
Mm.
the same time, you can't make him pay less. And he has more people in the house using more water because he was majority paying the bills because he was like he didn't want his brother to think that that was his house and he
Mhm.
need to stay there for so long, get himself together and leave. Then all of a sudden he just started having kids, and I'm looking at him like, when you gonna start your family in your house? Because your brother
Right.
started his family in your house. And so, it was a word. Somebody said something that I said about his brother, which I didn't say. And to be honest, it was funny because his brother gave his best friend some money. And I'm like, I think it was about $4,000. And I'm like,
Oh,
hold on. You just gave this dude $4,000. He could be giving that money to his brother because he's technically taking care of two households. Because the crazy part about it was my friend had his house, but he would go stay with his girlfriend. So his brother technically was in his house and he would just come there every so often.
mm.
And, he couldn't move his girlfriend into the house with him and her kids because his brother was there. So he
Right.
technically just stayed with his girl and helped her with her bills, plus helped his bills at his house. And like I said, it was overwhelming taking care of two households.
Yes, that's a lot to be
Yeah.
expected. But see, that's the thing. You can't enable people as well. And it's so funny that you mentioned you saying something that y'all had already discussed because I had that happen in a friendship before too, where this girl that I was friends with, um, she had got set up on a blind date with a guy. Hey, Tampa. And when I had never met the guy, but she got set up on this blind date with this guy. And when she came home, she called me and she was like, you know what, Stae? I don't know. I just get a vibe from him. Um, I don't really, trust it. I think he might be on the DL. It's just, different stuff. She was like, I'm just not trusting it. Mind you, I had never met him. Well, she ends up going out with him again. And then she does introduce me to him. And then when I give her my opinion, I'm like, yeah, he seems shady, whatever. She got pissed at me. I'm like, girl, you said it first. So then, and now she married to him. They've been married, but she has not spoken to me in years. And I'm like, all I was doing was validating what you said. And just because you done went and got a hot meal and changed your mind, well, he still seems shady to me. But people will do that. People will do that. But those aren't real relationships because you should be able to understand. why somebody is saying what they're saying. And now all of a sudden you conveniently forget the conversations we had.
Yep. And that's what happened with me. And we had another friend that tried to mediate the whole situation. And when that friend happened that night, the situation that happened, it went left. So I just stopped talking to the guy altogether. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, I literally helped this guy out of depression. Like, I would always talk to him because when he broke up with his girlfriend, I was just telling my wife the day about this. Like, I was talking with him. I would go over his house. As men, we'd joke around with each other. And he had a teddy bear. I shouldn't be saying this, but he had a teddy bear on the bed. And so the girl, that was her teddy bear. And so I was like, man, I know you not hugging on this teddy bear at night, acting like this is her. And I would always joke with him about it, and I would hit him with little stuff, joning and talking about him. And eventually, he came to me one day and was like, "Man, I'm really thankful of you always coming and messing with me, even though you got on my nerves. I was so depressed. I was thinking about taking myself out, but
Wow.
you always coming around, it kind of prevented me from doing it so many times I wanted to do it because you would always come unexpectedly, not calling. Because I was like, I knew his girl wasn't there, so I just pop up randomly, like, man, open the door. I don't care. You ain't got nobody in here. Just open the door. And that kind of prevented him from doing that. But at the same time, it's like I was like, I look at him like a brother, and for him to think I would kind of break him and his brother relationship up, that kind of threw me for a loop because I was like, I look at your brother like my brother, but at the same time, I'm not gonna let nobody get over on you, just like I wouldn't let nobody get over on my brother. So
Exactly.
I just, it just went left though. Yeah,
But sometimes it's like people just don't understand how friendship is supposed to be. Because another thing that's important to me in friendship is, what do you say about me when I'm not around? Like, don't come and tell me what somebody else said to you about me, because they don't owe me anything. What I want to know is, when they were saying that, what was your response? Like, I don't need you to, because some people are just non-confrontational. I don't need you to necessarily defend me, but at least say, you know what, I'm not comfortable. Stae's my girl. I'm not talking about Stae. And I would appreciate if you don't talk about Stae. But if you can just sit there and get all the information, and you think you're being a friend to me just because you came and told me, I don't care what they were saying about me. They said it to you, or they said it in front of you. What are you doing? And that's true forever friendship, when I don't have to be in the room to know that my name is going to be protected.
yeah, yep, that is true. Yeah,
Chris,
it's like
you
that.
are too, buddy. Yeah, it's different. And everybody doesn't know what friendship is. Like I said, some people feel like we friends just because we like the same things. We, you know what I mean, go to the same places, we work at the same place. And there's a difference too in work friends. I've had people when I worked in corporate America that I talked to every day at work. We cut up at work. We had a good time at work. We didn't even have each other's phone number. And when I left that job, I never talked to them again, because that is a work friend. And that's why I wanted to do the live, because you can compartmentalize your friendships or your relationships and put them in certain boxes. Some people serve different purposes in your life, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I actually tagged a lady. I was watching her video this morning, and she
Mm-hmm.
was saying that she hit a milestone. I think she got like 1,000 subs, and
Oh,
this is someone she met on the internet and on YouTube, and so they were like cool with each other. So she explained to her, she was like, "Well, I want you to come on my live and moderate as I come up here and celebrate."
mm-hmm.
So it went completely left because the girl got ready, well, the lady got ready to moderate for a channel, and she
Mm-hmm.
didn't have a wrench. So instead of her saying, hey, what's going on? I don't have a wrench, she blew up and had this whole thing. And she even said in the video, why would I ask you to moderate my channel?
And then not give you the.
And yeah, and I took your wrench because she had a wrench before,
Oh,
so the
okay.
wrench got taken. So she didn't know how the wrench got taken. All she know was the lady didn't have a wrench,
Right.
and it went into a big issue. And I tagged her because I was like, "This will be a good video for her to look at and go back and look into it." Because
I
she just like completely was like,
But that's
I
the
don't like
thing. You have to, true friendship allows for the conversations as well. And that's the
it. Yep.
thing. Like with me and my friend Adrian, She would never assume anything. If something happens, if it looks like I did something shady, if it looks like I'm mad, she gonna call me because she's gonna feel like, okay, I need to have a conversation with her because this ain't our relationship. But some people just go ahead and assume, get an attitude, and that's not what friendship is. Like, if this is your friend, then you first have to think, why would they do that to me? Okay, they probably wouldn't. So let me go ahead and ask the question. But so many people just fly off the handle without having the conversation, and conversations could save a multitude of relationships if people were just willing to talk, if they're just willing to ask the question and not assume.
Yeah, and that's always the key with people. I always tell my wife and a lot of people communication. If you think that's why I don't like texting people, because I tell them you can read a text one way and think they're saying it aggressively. I prefer you to call me and we talk about it. Some small that's saying yes and no, but in the heat of an argument, when I tell you to do something and you say yes real loud or something. Oh, my light went off in my car. You say yes real loud. Yeah, I'm in the car. I was actually finna go in the house, and I was like, "Let me get on this live
I
fire
don't know
jump
where
over
you
the
at
house."
in the driveway. I be getting on my husband about that. I'm like, when you come home, come in the house. Don't be having the neighbors think you don't want to come in here with me. They're like, oh, that poor man that got home from work. He don't even want to go in the house.
Yeah, I just actually pulled up. My wife do this all the time, and I get on her about this. But
Oh, shoot. And with him,
I
if you
actually,
do something like this, he listening to a podcast, listening to something. He was like, I was just listening. I'm like, you better come on in here.
yeah, yeah, I heard about that too before. But yeah, I was actually calling my wife to tell my boys come out because I was gonna get them to actually go do some painting with me somewhere else. But since nobody's coming out, because I'm like, they not in school, I'm putting them to work.
It's the middle of the night, she.
Hey,
That's child labor laws.
hey, they on my work time.
Oh
They don't
my.
go to school. They don't go to school tomorrow, so I'm gonna keep them to about at least an hour and a half, and then take them home. Like they have back in the day when you used to have the babies, get them all wore out and tired. You take them home,
Yeah,
let them
so
go
they
take a
sleep
bath, send
good.
them straight to bed.
Yes, yes.
I guess
That
my
is,
wife didn't answer, so that means I can't take them tonight.
yeah, I guess. Well, we gonna have ours gonna sleep good tonight. You know, I'm empty nester, but
Yeah,
two of them are home right now, but they just came back from playing basketball. So I guess the 22-year-old and the 28-year-old gonna sleep good tonight.
yeah, yeah,
Oh my goodness, yeah. But that's funny. The friendship thing, like I said, a lot of people make it more difficult than it needs to be. And a lot of people just put these expectations on people. But sometimes, like you said, you can have these long time friendships and relationships and you think everything's good. And then somebody just flip on you. And it's like, that's why I said you can't even put a time frame on it because you can be friends with somebody for 20 years and then something happens and it's different. And sometimes people only show you who they want you to see until something goes wrong. Then all of a sudden you see who they truly are. And some people are so good at that, they can mask their true personality for years, but something happens that they don't like and you see who they really are. Hey, Grammy, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you so much. Hope you're having
I,
a good Monday.
I told
But
my cousin that, and my friend, because my friend he's 50 dating, and I'm like, man,
mm,
a lot of women will show you their representative until they actually want to open up and show their true selves, and some of them just do it on accident because of a situation happened. Like I told them, when I was, let's say when I was young, because I married when I was 25, but I was
mhm,
dating this woman, and everything was fine, no problem, but the way she handled the waitress, I was like, this is a person I haven't seen before. And I
mm,
told him, I say, when you go into these relationships, everybody's going to show you the version of you. Like I seen a woman say, I will never tell a man how I'm looking for a man in certain particular, because that man will mimic himself to what you like. And that's what most people do. Yep.
yep. Yep, that is so true. You get the representative. And like you said, sometimes people don't even realize it. But something else that you said when you talked about how she treated the waitress, that's something else you have to be careful with friendships. Like people will have friends that do other people dirty act crazy, and they be like, oh, but they don't treat me like that. Oh no, she would never talk to me like that, whatever. No, your turn is coming. You need
One day.
to pay attention to how people treat other people, what their relationships are with other people, and don't think that for whatever reason that you are above that. No, your day is coming. But people just,
Yeah.
they don't want to believe fat meat's greasy. But I'm like, I can't be friends with somebody who doesn't treat other people kindly. And just like with dating or whatever, if you're dating a man or a woman who has children and they don't take care of their children, they don't go see about their children, that's somebody you want to be leery with. But some people look at it like, well, that's just one less thing I want to got to be worried about. I ain't got to be worried about them kids. But why would you be okay with somebody who doesn't take care of their kids? That means one or two things. If y'all have kids, they're not going to take care of them either, or it means that they're just in a relationship with you for what they can get out of you. So why would you want to deal with that? But I know a lot of women, it happens more often, who have whole families with men who got a whole family somewhere else and don't take care of their kids. It's like, that tells me something about that man's character. And I don't care what the excuse is. I don't care if the baby mama is crazy. I don't care if, all she do is ask for money. I don't care. Those are still your kids, and you need to have a relationship with your kids, or you can't have a relationship with me. I don't need to have a relationship with your kids necessarily, but you need to have a relationship with your kids.
Yep, yep. And
That
that
tells me a
goes.
lot about a character.
Yep, that goes without saying. With most people, I know guys who like that. Like, I've kind of broken friendships because of that. One of my friends I know from school, we've been friends for years through sports and stuff. And as so many years came about, he started having a lot of kids, and his baby mama was close with her, and it got to the point she would always tell me, "Yeah, I gotta hound your friend for this," and I'm like, man, it's kind of like put me in a situation like I'm encouraging him, or I'm cool with him acting this way, so I just start distancing myself from him because it's like guilty by association. I don't want to be associated with the guy that robs everybody, because then they can be like, well, that's your friend. That's what he known for, and that's who you hang with.
Yeah, I mean, because to me, it's like nobody is perfect, but when you have serious character flaws, again, it's just
Hmm.
hard for me to trust you, because even though you may just be doing this right now, but what's going to happen later? Like, I can't trust people who have character flaws like that. It's just, and I don't want to be associated with that. And especially the older we get and we're in business and, trying to climb the corporate ladder, doing whatever we're doing, people are paying attention to who we deal with. And what I tell a lot of my clients, when you're in the job market, people are going to your Facebook and your social media and all that before they're even looking at your resume. And if you posted up with somebody who out here robbing and stealing, what does that say about your character?
Yep.
They say, what do they say? Birds of a feather flock together. And so it's like, no, we have to be similar. We don't have to be exactly the same, but we at least have to have the same moral compass to be friends.
Yep, yep. And that's what one of my friends, cause like I was the first one out of my group of friends, out of my boys, to get married. One of my other friends was the first one to have a kid, and the other three, they didn't have anything. No
Mm-hmm.
kids, not marriage, nothing. And the more they started being around me, because they was like, "Oh, I never get married," and all of a sudden they started looking at marriage as being a good thing, from versus, yeah, Rashid's doing good. His family's good. I think I'm gonna try this out.
Yes.
And after a while, it was like a domino effect. Everybody started getting married, and we had that one friend, no marriage, no girl. He's partying, and he still haven't settled down. But at least he got a woman with kids now. But he hasn't
Mm-hmm.
settled down. Like, no kids, none of it. He just still out there.
Yeah, and it's just a different kind of lifestyle. It's like for me too, I had a nice group of girlfriends and we used to do the girls' trips like all the time. And a lot of them are still single. And so I had to cut that stuff down to just, once a year I'll do a trip with everybody. But I can't be going away with y'all every quarter and going to every single jazz festival and every jazz cruise. Like, I got a whole husband. I cannot do that.
Hmm.
But that's the thing too, when you're real friends and lifetime friends, they understand that. They understand the changes in life, and some things about the relationship might not be the same, but that core friendship is still there. And that's why I make sure to be intentional about, yeah, at least once a year, I'm still going to kick it with y'all. I might not be able to go every single time y'all go, but I'm still going to do it because they support me in the things I do. But yeah, I can't, my Wallace will be looking at me crazy, but that's the difference too. And we'll probably talk about that on our live tomorrow, when I was married before and being equally yoked. Because with my ex-husband, I was going on every single girl trip. I would go back home to Pittsburgh, supposed to be there for a weekend, and end up staying 2 weeks. Wallace would be looking at me like I was crazy. But different relationship, different expectations. But there ain't no way I would be able to get away with that. But the thing is, when you're with the person you're supposed to be with, I have no desire to do that either. So it's not like he's, forcing me to stay home. There's nobody else I'd rather be with and hang out with besides him. So, but yeah, it just wasn't like that before. So yeah, but I used to stay gone. I would come back home and get my kids and go again. Like, okay, well, I come get the kids. They can come with me. What CC say? All my friends are married. I need some single friends. LOL. You need some single friends, or you need to get married. One or the other. But the thing is, single people and married people can be friends. It just looks a little bit different. But what I would suggest is, when it comes to the advice given, single women who want to be married, or married women with single friends, don't be taking advice from your single friends. Talk to other married friends, because single friends will jack up your marriage. I'm just saying. I'm sorry, CC. No offense. But yeah, when you married and you need some advice, talk to somebody who's married and who is currently married. Don't talk to nobody who's been married, divorced, because they be bitter, giving you bad advice. Talk to somebody who is happily married, because they gonna give you the real deal. Because even when you're happily married, that doesn't mean perfect. So they're still going to give you the real deal. But do not get your advice from single friends. Would you say, I'm a good single friend? I believe you, CC. I believe you. And the thing is, it depends on what stage of singleness we're in, because that's different too. Because sometimes you single and you happy and you haven't been in a relationship. Sometimes people be single and mad, fresh off a breakup. It just depends. Single people be a little all over the place.
Yep.
It just depends.
It's like that season, that season single. They've been through some things, and they can rationalize and give you good advice, compared to, like you say, the trouble, the world must pay single, and giving out the worst advice possible.
Yes, all men are dogs. Yeah. All women are gold diggers. Yeah, we can't have those.
He don't want you on that girl trip. He don't love you, because he should be able to let you go anywhere you want.
Yeah.
Now you're divorced. You can come hang with me 24 hours now. I'm sorry I got you divorced, but
But you know what? Again, and again, I'm talking from experience, because I remember, not even when I was single, when I was married before, because I was not ready to be a wife. I wasn't a good wife. And so when I had other married friends, when we would be planning stuff, and they'd be like, well, let me check with my husband. I would be looking at them like, check with your husband? Ain't you grown? Don't you got a job? Now I'm not doing nothing without running it by Wallace. And I feel so bad for the people who I tried to husband shame back in the day. I'm like, oh no, I just tell my husband what I'm gonna do. Yeah, I'm gonna just text him and tell him we hitting the road. But yeah, that's not what you do. And I wouldn't dare do that now. So yeah, even as a married woman back then, I wasn't the one to give advice to, because I just thought you just do whatever you want to do. Ain't no man running me. But I didn't know any better. I really didn't. I was young, but that's who, has to do with generational and being raised by strong women and, that kind of stuff. And it's just like, you independent, you don't need no man and whatever. So I had to unlearn a lot of bad teachings, and people just do the best that they can. But yeah, I was horrible. I ran all over that man, and I'm not proud of it at all. Not proud of it at all. I ran all over him and ran him directly to another woman. And he was like, you wasn't home anyway.
It's a process. The more, like I say, that seasonal, when you grow, you shouldn't be the same as when you were 22. If you're getting in your 30s and 40s and you're still going to the club, hanging with the young people, it's a process and growth you haven't got to your life yet. It's just like people say, life be lifing. life come with a level of maturity, and some
Yeah.
people don't reach it.
Yeah, and that's what I say. Yeah, with age should come wisdom, and with wisdom should come knowledge, but everybody doesn't get it.
Yep.
And there's definitely a difference between being an adult and being grown. An adult just means you had some birthdays, but grown means that you done had some experience and you learn from it. There is a big
Yeah.
difference because as long as we keep living, we're gonna become adults, but that definitely don't make you grown. Okay, we got a right from Grammy. Well, y'all, thank you so much. Sheed, you got anything else for the people before we head out?
Hey, I always say relationships, friends, jobs, everything, it's a choice. It's a choice that you decide to pick or you decide to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
Choices.
Yep, absolutely. And even when it comes to family members, and I think you and I talked about that on another live sheet, like, yeah, you still have a choice with your family members. You can create
Yep.
those boundaries, and just because they family, don't make them friends. So yeah, it is definitely all about choices. And I want y'all to choose wisely and stop getting your feelings hurt and stop, putting unfair expectations on people. Realize season, reason, lifetime. You have friends, you have associates, you have your yoga buddy, you have your work friends, and they're not all going to be the same relationship. So I appreciate you, Sheed, for joining me up here. I appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in. I just checked my subscribers a couple of minutes ago. We are up to 724, y'all. So on this road to 1K. So if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please do. And for those of you who joined the late live, I launched the Lifer Tribe membership today. So we have 3 tiers of membership. You can be a life enthusiast, a life empowerer, or a life champion. And each one of those memberships comes with different perks, including some one-on-one coaching with me and all that. So thank you so much. Thank you, Cece. I appreciate you, Ladybug. And thank you so much, Jesse. I appreciate you for being here. And yes, thank you for thanking my co-host Sheed for the evening. But y'all have a great rest of your night. Y'all know the drill. I love and appreciate each and every one of you to bits and pieces. Always be kind and always love one another, but don't forget to live your life. LYFE. Love yourself first explicitly. And I'll see y'all on the next one. Bye.
Living like a Stae. Hey, hey, living like a Stae.